So we're going to get started and we'll start on the back today, but we're going to set up with the props first before you come down. So you're going to take your two blocks and put them one next to the other on the lowest, flattest level across the mat, kind of like a third of the way down on your mat. And then just come to sit and take your blanket and just place the blanket on top of the blocks. The blanket can be folded like mine is here, or you can have it just open. Its purpose is just to have the blocks be a little bit more cushioned because we're going to put our feet up on this in a moment. So go ahead and shift forward now, and you're going to place the soles of the feet together and have the knees apart like Baddha Konasana. And then make sure your pelvis is pretty close to your props as you roll down onto the back. And then we'll take just a couple of breaths to land here before we do anything else. So allow your arms to go into a cactus shape for today. And invite your eyes to close, or at least have a steady, soft gaze towards the nose or towards the ceiling. And concentrate your breath in the rib cage and in the belly as you inhale and exhale through your nose. Just a gentle seal of the lips, softening the muscles around your face and your throat. Allowing the corners of the chest and the corners of the pelvis to widen apart from one another. And just take one more deep breath in here through your nose. And also an exhale through the nose. Great. And you can slip the eyes open if they're closed, and just take the arms down alongside your body so you can press into your hands. And then connect your feet into one another and press down into the feet to lift your pelvis up. So you're in like a little Baddha Konasana bridge. Aim to lift the front of your hip points up towards your low ribs so that your tailbone can reach down to the heels a little more. And you're feeling a length through your lower back as you engage pretty strongly in the rotators of the hip and in the glutes. Good, and then just simply lower your pelvis back down. And then we're going to do that a bunch of times. Lift the hips up, press the feet into one another and down, and then lower the hips back to the ground. And then as you're working here, really concentrate on the two sides of the pelvis lifting and lowering at the same rate. So notice if there's a tendency to kind of wobble up, like a little shifting from side to side. And if you're feeling like that's happening, really drive down through the side that you feel perhaps is lagging behind, so that again you can create this even lift and lower of the pelvis to the ceiling and to the floor. And you can coordinate any pattern of breath with this if you want to inhale on the way up and exhale on the way down, or vice versa, exhaling on the way up, inhaling on the way down. All good. Just keep your breath flowing in and out through the nose. Good, we're going to do 3 more here. Hopefully starting to feel some burning around those muscles in the hip. Last one. Good, and then once the pelvis is back on the floor, just plant your right foot on the padding so the right knee is pointing to the ceiling. You're going to keep this left leg in a half Baddha Konasana shape. And then press into your feet again and lift your pelvis up. Now your left hip has to do a lot more work to stay in line with the right side. So see if you can really drive the hip bone, left hip bone, to the ceiling. And then keep pushing into your right foot and your left hand here to help you as you just float the left foot up off of the padding. Again, you're going to keep the legs sort of in this Baddha Konasana shape. flex your left foot, and then just stretch your left leg forward, keeping the external rotation of your leg. So your left toes and knee will still be pointing to the left. Pick up the left side pelvis and just bend the knee back in, and think about pulling your heel, left heel, towards your pelvic floor, almost like a tree pose leg. And then again, like that, extend your leg forward and bend your leg in. Keep lifting up through the sides of the pelvis. One more time, extend the leg forward and bend the leg back in. Pause there for another moment, then lower the left foot down onto the padding, and then slowly lower your pelvis back to the ground. Come back to Baddha Konasana, just for a breath cycle, soles of feet together, knees apart. And then right on the second side, you're going to plant your left foot on the padding, knee pointing up. Keep the Baddha Konasana through your right leg, and then press into your feet and lift your hips up. Now, right side pelvis has to do a lot more work to lift up, so it's your glutes. Keep pushing down through your left foot and now your right hand to help you. And float the right foot up off of the blanket and flex it. And again, keep the external rotation going. Just extend your leg forward. Knee and toes still pointing to the right. And then bend your leg back in and pull the heel towards your pelvic floor again, like a tree pose feeling. Again, extend the leg forward and bend the leg back in. And one more time, extend and bend. Pause here, just lower your foot onto the padding and then slowly drop the pelvis back down onto the ground. Again, soles of feet together, knees apart. One last little Baddha Konasana. Okay, now you can scoop those legs into your chest and find a happy baby pose. So seeing if you can catch the outer edges of your feet with your hands. If that doesn't feel accessible, you can hold your lower shin or your ankle with your hands. And then really drive the knees apart and down and take a few breaths. You might rock a little side to side here. You could also just be pausing in center in a bit of stillness. But sharpen up your feet as if you're standing on the ceiling with your feet. So there's a nice pressure up through the bases of your big toes, pinky toes, and the center of the heel. Good, and then we'll gather the legs back in and just rock yourself on up to sit. Okay, and then you can keep your padding just as it is, so blanket on top of blocks. I'm just going to rotate it to face you, but you can have it still as it is on your mat. And we're going to come into a supported squat on the padding. So go ahead and sit yourself down and take your feet out in front of you. And then you're going to take the backs of your hands to the sides of your hips, sort of like lower side of waist, and start to tuck your elbows inside your knees, kind of like a chicken wing arms. And you're going to just use this as a way to passively stretch the arms in internal rotation. So be just very gentle with this. You can kind of gauge how much pressure you need to get the stretch. You're going to press the knees into the arms and just resist the arms very gently back into the knees. Okay, and we'll just take a few moments here. You could let your head hang. You could also circle the head around, maybe pausing with one ear towards one shoulder, or you can have your head just in center if that feels better for you. Just a few more breaths. Good, and then just very slowly, you're going to untuck your elbows from inside your legs, and then bring your hands to prayer in front of you. Press the elbows against your inner knees and thighs. And then keep your hands and your elbows exactly where they are, and the tripods of your feet planted firmly into the ground. And press the knees back away from your arms, like you want to disconnect them and make space between the arms and the legs. What you should feel as you do that is the same muscles around your outer hip and thigh engaging as you had when you were doing your Baddha Konasana bridges. So This is external rotators of the hip, like the hip rotator cuff. And then just reconnect the legs to the arms. Sit up a little bit taller with your spine and your chest. And again, like that, press the knees back away from your arms. And as you do that, push the bases of the big toes down. See if you can feel a lift through the inner arches of the feet. Good, one more time, just reconnect. Lengthen and lift. And press the knees back away from the arms. Good, and then we'll hold the knees pressing back here, so strong legs, for one round of Om. You're welcome to listen or to join me at home. Take a deep breath in.